Alright. What's up, everybody? It's been a hot minute since we looked at one of these impossible AI challenges because, well, no one's been breaking any records. But Goblin did come out with a new video, and he's apparently taken on 7 insane ZERG AI at once. Let's take a look and see what he's got to say.
Well, a month ago, I uploaded a video where I defeated 7 insane Protoss AI, which, of the 3 races, was the easiest one to beat. So today, I'm taking it up a notch, and I'm gonna try to beat 7 insane ZERG AI. Enjoy the video. So, the build that I'm gonna be doing is gonna be basically the same one that I did in the previous challenge against Protoss. And if you haven't seen that one, I'm gonna put a link in the description, so you should check it out. It's basically like I'm gonna go Forge first, put a cannon on top of my ramp, and then Nexus, Gate, Pylon, Gas, something along those lines. And something I realized in my later attempts is that it's actually better if they don't worker rush me, because then my early game is just so much better and cleaner, and I just have more money and my build feels a lot nicer and it flows more nicely. But anyway, right as I logged into the game, I'm instantly happy about my spawn point. My spawning location is really good. The ones that are good are any of the 2 bottom left spawns and any of the 2 top right spawns. This is because it's simply easier on the Sim City because the ramp to the main is in a nicer spot, so that it doesn't make it awkward for you to put buildings down at the edge of Nexus Photon overcharge range, which is usually where you want to build because you want all your batteries to be inside Photon overcharge range and the cannons to be outside, so you always usually build on the edge.
Alright, so that's interesting. Already we're seeing cannons is the opening. Seems like cannons and batteries is just the way you do it. But he mentioned he doesn't want to get worker rushed. I don't know how he's actually avoiding that, because I thought if you built things at your ramp, that was a bit too close and would trigger the worker rush, but maybe it's only if you build on the low ground that it completely triggers their neighboring AI to worker rush. I'm not 100% sure.
So, as I said, we're doing the same build here. We go for the first, cannon, and we're overprobing because I think overprobing is more efficient than cutting at 16. And another thing you will notice a bit later on is that I'm gonna be walling with my cyber core on the low ground. Right now I'm just scouting a little bit for the drone pool. And he doesn't drone pool me, so I'm instantly even more happy.
Okay, so it does seem like, yeah, they might drone pool, but I guess there's a little bit of chance with that, because he said, like, he didn't say anything about building placement. In his mind, he thought the pool might actually happen. He has no idea. So, man, this is the weird thing with AI challenges, is like they are so inconsistent in what they do, which makes it so hard to predict when you're dealing with 7 incredibly unpredictable AIs that you don't know what sort of start you're going to get.
And this is what I meant. I can get my Nexus super early now, because I don't have to do the pylon wall, which delays the Nexus by 100 minerals, and then I have to cancel it, and everything's messed up.
Okay, so otherwise he might need to full wall with the pylon to stop the workers getting into his base. All right, that makes sense. So instead he's like, okay, I'm going to start the cybercore on the low ground after this gateway, and he's going to basically use that to start building out a nice thick wall, which I guess if you think about insane ZERG AI, they will often hit you at about 3 minutes 30 to 4 minutes with a ton of banelings. And that if you got cannons and pylons out front, they're so vulnerable to that. I don't know how efficiently the AI blows up on them, because obviously if you get those banelings into the middle of a bunch of cannons and batteries, it can just be like sick. But having a cybercore which has 1100 hit points out front can absorb a lot of beating.
We go gateway, and then we make another probe, and then we go pylon before gas, because I don't want to be supply block. I want to have constant probe production. And the game plan is also gonna be a bit different than the one we had against Protoss. So the reason I did it against Protoss first is because doing it against Protoss is the easiest. Protoss doesn't make any air units, so the game is very simple. You make robos, you make immortals and disruptors, and they counter everything that Protoss makes. But Zergs, they will go into air, so it makes it a little bit difficult. I will have to open with her robo, and at some point I'm gonna have to do a Stargate transition. So we're gonna be opening Robo with maybe like 2 Immortals, and then either double or triple Robo Disruptor. And then at some point, we're gonna be making a Golden Armada, like a very A-movie carrier Voyager type of army. Now, I tried Tempest in the past, but Tempest DPS is just way too slow. Even though they're a very cost-efficient unit, they don't kill things fast enough.
Yeah, I bet, dude. Tempests are like snipers, right? The last thing you want is a sniper with a bolt-action rifle when you're dealing with a zombie horde, which is essentially what this scenario is. It's like, oh, but look, each bullet gets a headshot. And you're like, yeah, but you don't literally have the possibility of getting enough kills with Tempests in time. If it drags out to the super late game and they're not attacking you, Tempests would be great for picking off units and pulling back and picking off units and pulling back. But we'd be talking about a 3-hour challenge if you were winning that way. So we've still got a massive disruptor focus into just getting Void Rays and Carriers. I wouldn't be surprised if he builds a few Tempests to like shoot down Vipers and Broodlords. Broodlords are massively vulnerable because they take a bunch of bonus damage from Tempests and they're so long range. So Tempests might be ideal. Just get a few of them to 1 or 2 shot Broodlords at some point. But other than that, Carriers all the way.
So I had to start trying carriers, and a more carrier-based composition ended up being a lot better. Another thing I want to note is I'm being a lot greedier in the early game than in the previous PvP 1v7 that I did. And this is because if I try to hold certain things, they're gonna kill me anyway, because my early game would be too bad, and there's a chance that even if I cut all my workers, all my gases, all my tech, I'm still gonna die to the same push. I also want to mention that there's a bunch.
Okay, so basically, I think that was really funny, right? Goblin was like really hesitating. He's like, how do I explain this? He's like, basically, I'm flipping a coin that they don't hit me with the scariest possible rush, and I'm being a little greedy, and if I get unlucky, I will get killed. I think that's what I'm reading between the lines. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if you guys in the comments hearing the same thing. It feels like he's like, look, I'm gonna maybe lose half of these games before the 5 or 6 minute mark doing it this way. The problem is, even though I could play safer and always get past the 5 or 6 minute mark, I could never get past the 10 minute mark. I needed to have a greedy opening and get into those disruptors and the more economy sooner. So fair enough, dude. I mean, it's an AI challenge. No one's trying to be 100% solid in these. We've seen a lot of like luck and weird chance and all sorts of things go down. Still curious to see how he pulls it out.
Bunch of things in the early game that you kind of just instantly lose to. Like, if your neighbor goes for a Baneling Bust, sometimes they do a Baneling Bust build, you just instantly die because he kills like 5 cannons with a few Banelings and there's nothing you can do about it. Or if they go like hatch first, it's also really annoying because then they actually pull workers against you, I think when you make your forge, which is really early, and then your early game is just completely messed up.
So if the hatchery is built hatch first, because it must be not just an area near their starting location, it must be proximity to their buildings, which triggers them. So having a ZERG nearby, rather than a Terran or Protoss, because their buildings are all contained to creep, if they don't go hatch first, they don't get triggered into pulling drones unless they go hatch first. This is really interesting. It starts to make a lot more sense.
So anyway, as you can see, I was just making probes, getting my gases, taking up, and using all of my extra money to make static defense. And I mentioned earlier, I believe, I evolved with the Cybercore. You can see the Cybercore is there on the low ground. This is because it just makes it a bit awkward for their ranged units to fight. The Roaches, the Hydras, stuff like that. They're gonna be derping on it a little bit. And later on, it will be really helpful against Ultras, because they make a lot of Ultralisks later on, which is also why we wanna invest into a few Immortals. And the Immortals are also good at killing your neighbor, which we do wanna do because we wanna save the minerals that he has in his base. We're taking a 5-minute third base here. As I mentioned, very greedy early game. Greedier than usual, I believe. The second robo goes down.
So if I were him, I'd be a little bit worried about triggering all the other AI to attack right now. His neighbor's clearly been attacking him. There's been a few roaches and lings coming in, but nothing super scary. And as he said, if a big pack of Banes rolls into those cannons, you could be in big trouble. Like, you'll have to actively focus down the banelings as much as possible before they get on top. I'm still kind of going, dude, it's 5 minutes. Sometimes you get to 7 or 8 minutes, but like, he's got to imagine there's a big impending attack coming very soon. His disruptors will be starting. So if nothing comes till about 8 minutes, he should have 3 disruptors out. And I think from there, he's going to be able to survive much bigger waves.
Yeah, I did mention we were gonna try to make a golden armada. But I also want to mention we're going to be playing slightly differently in the way that I'm gonna be prioritizing units over static defense, which is not something I did in the previous one. And I'm also gonna be making more probes. So in the previous one, I think I stopped at like 46 or something like that. In this one, I'm gonna go all the way up to like 58. Because I just wanna explode and make a god army. And the static defense I noticed against ZERG doesn't do too great of a job.
Yeah, I mean, you got to deal with lurkers and broodlords in the late game, which wreck static D. But you've also got banelings, you've got just masses of roaches and lings coming in. And we've all seen in like high-level PvZ, when the Zerg comes with a swarm, it's your ability to like stutter step backwards, like move back, shoot, move back, shoot, move back, shoot. And the Zerg units can't really close the distance because a lot of them are just all stuck behind each other. So if you can have an army that kind of staggers backwards in a fight, you can get way more efficiency compared to the cannon battery.
So as you can see now, I made another Cybercore. This is because walls are simply just really good against Zerg. The roaches derp, the hydras derp, the ultralisks will derp later, and it gives my disruptors more time. Protects my cannons from the melee units. It's just really efficient to do against Zerg, and the reason you make Cybercores is because they have the most HP per mineral spent. Compared to the Gateway or the Forge. I think the Cybercore has like 100 HP more.
This is
And
brutal.
speaking of Cybercores and Forges, later on, we're gonna be making a backup Cybercore in the back of our Natural and a backup Forge as well. Because what can happen is, I've lost some good runs to this, is that you lose the Cybercore and the Forge that are at the front, and then after their attack is cleaned up, you are floating like 2k minerals or something. But then you can't rebuild because they killed the Cybercore, which is necessary to make batteries, and they also killed the Forge, which is necessary to make cannons. And then you're stuck floating 2k minerals and you have nothing to spend it on, right? Because you only have a few production facilities.
Dude, this wall-off is disgusting. The way they're funneling into that Cybercore choke, and then on the bottom and the top of it, it's like he's created the perfect thing where the Cybercores are getting mostly ignored. They're taking a few hits, but mostly they're just blocking the units and confusing them and creating these super condensed choke points. It's like he's squeezing all the Zerg together and then dropping his disruptor shot on top of it. It's just, ugh, brutal, man.
Now I'm just trying to kill my neighbor. Usually when I'm killing my neighbor, I'm trying to focus the hatchery, because we don't need to kill the other buildings. The hatchery, the main building, is the most important one, so he stops mining. I believe I'm making my first target now, and I already started my air upgrades, as you can see on those cybernetic scores. I just want to get like a head start on them, so I can have +3 air attack way faster, because those types of upgrades are really huge for the carriers, which have like 8 interceptors, both of them attack twice, so they scale really well from attack upgrades.
And likewise, very poorly, if you don't have attack upgrades, they have armor upgrades. Goes the other way as well. It's why Marauders were really bad when their attacks got split into 2 attacks in early Legacy of the Void. Ultralisks with max armor took almost no damage from them. It was super unfair.
So yeah, I killed the hatchery, which is nice. Now he's not really mining from that base, saving me a lot of minerals. I don't know if I did yet, but I should also start a shield upgrade. I might have done so already, I don't remember. I talked about it in my previous video, but shields affect the buildings as well, which is why they're really good, and batteries also heal shields. So it increases the amount of HP the shield armor is applied to. But yeah, now I'm going back into some Immortals, as you can see. This is because I'm expecting that either the next attack or the one after that will include a lot of Ultralisks. And Ultras take, I think it was 5 disruptor shots to die. And so I'm spending like 5 disruptor shots to kill like, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 ultras, which is really inefficient. And the immortals kill them really fast. There's the first corruptor.
Spy attack coming in. You gotta be careful. But I think he's already finishing 1-1 on the cyber cores. So it's like, dude, his air upgrades are gonna be amazing. And it really does feel like he's had a much less turtly and fluid go through this time. So I kind of want to pick Goblin's brain about like, hey, how does this compare to your other runs? Do you think you got a bit lucky with the lightness of the attacks early on? Because realistically, those attacks, like, they're not that scary. But I think they're not that scary because of the cybercore placement. It seems to be just forcing those roach chunks. It was like 2 disruptors and each one was like, bam, 12 roaches, bam, 12 roaches. So he's definitely really got a very keen eye for building placement. You can even see when he's hovering pylons, he's like trying to get it on the exact right space to optimize everything.
And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but the reason you need to go Stargate at some point against ZERG is because of those air units, but more specifically the Broodlords. They will make Broodlords at some point, no matter what. I think it's like usually 2 Broodlords per player or something. So they're gonna be hitting you with 14 Broodlords, and you just need a way to kill them. You saw me just build a Cybercore and a Forge back there. This is what I touched on earlier. We need the backup buildings, because we will get broken when the first Ultralisks come. We will lose all of our frontal buildings. So I'm rebuilding early.
He saved the Immortal really nicely on the left.
Also, you saw me... This next misplacement was very unfortunate. You saw me take my gases on the 3rd base. Now, I don't really need to mine those gases out. I need to kickstart my gas income so I can afford the Stargate production and the Robo production. Because I'm on triple Robo, triple Stargate, which costs a lot of gas. But at some point later on, when I will be nearing maxing out, this will be way too much gas. I don't know if that makes sense. I just need the income right now, but later on, it's gonna be useless gas, and I'm not gonna be able to spend it. Just mining out like 4 gas geysers is enough.
I can't wait for the next big push when the Ultras are here. We're already at 10 minutes 30. We haven't seen Ultras yet, but he's already at 34 frames a second. Whenever he's looking at the front, he's on 34 frames a second. So right now, Goblin over here is competing against not just the 7 AI, but also his computer's performance, because StarCraft only optimizes usage of 1 core. On your processor, you can have 8 cores, you can have 16 cores. There's just going to be 1 core that's trying to manage everything, and a lot of the graphics falls on it as well. So your graphics card can't actually take a lot of those functions off of it, unfortunately. I don't know how he's going to land disruptor shots. I skimmed the very start of this video previously, and I was talking to Goblin in my Twitch chat the other day, and I was like, dude, it looked really laggy. Is that just the recording lagging, or is it just as laggy to play? He's like, it felt terrible. He's like, it's so hard to micro the disruptors in the big fights, but like, you just get used to basically playing on a PowerPoint slide. And I'm like, all right, man, you're braver than I am. I would not want to do that.
But I mine them out too slowly, so I need the extra ones. And yeah, as you can see, my supply is already at 150. I think this is more supply than I ever had in the PvP challenge. And I'm being way greedier. I have like 50 to 60 workers, 55 maybe. So I also have a lot of static defense as well. Now, I'm making a few Tempests first. I know I mentioned carriers earlier. But it's kinda hard to kill a few Broodlords with like 1 or 2 carriers, because I have to go forward, and the Vipers, they do make spellcasters. They make Infestors and Vipers, and they actually use the spells. They use them really well. They will yoink my carrier and then kill it with their Hydras or whatever. That's why I want a few Tempests first, so they can kill the initial Broodlords from a very safe range. I think at this point I have a very good ground army count. 17 Disruptors, 6 Immortals should be more than enough to clear out everything on the ground. So the rest of my supply I'm gonna try to use on the carriers, the Tempests and the Void Rays. As you can see, I'm focus firing the Broodlords with the carriers. Now they make the lurkers, and they don't make lurkers every game. I'm not sure what prompts them to do it, but the lurkers are also quite annoying, because I have to go a bit forward with my disruptors to clean them up than I would have liked to. And as you can see, what I said earlier about them using the spellcasters really well, they yoinked the Tempest, they also put Parasitic Bomb on the Tempest. It's quite annoying. I lost an Immortal there, poor Micro. I might lose a second one, yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
But ultimately, I don't need to rebuild them. That's kind of freeing up supply for more carriers.
Really? I feel like you need 6, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
God.
not being too conservative with my disruptor shots because I have a lot of them. So I can just fire like 4 at a time or so, send 1 all the way to the backline in the heart of the roaches and the hydras, and send 3 to like kind of focus on the ultralisks, and maybe they will clip some of the rest of the army.
This is a really nice army comp he's got. I kind of feel like you want to have the 6 Immortals, but even 4 can 3-shot an Ultra pretty easily, so this is still pretty nice. The Disruptor spreads are really good. He's lost a bit of static in his front Cybercores, but like he said, he just wants to get that big ball of Carrier Void Ray now with 3-3. So hey, he's on his path. He's well on his road to kicking butt.
Now I'm trying to find a window of time where I can rebuild the Cyber Wall, because the Cyber Wall is actually very helpful. And as you can see, one of my carriers got Neural Parasiting. They also use Fungal. Yeah, they use all the spells. What I used to do earlier in my previous attempts is also put like my Stargate in the wall. It would die eventually, but still. But what they did is they always have Overseers. I think it's strictly 3 or 4 Overseers per player. But what happens is they use the... I'm not sure what the ability is called. I think it's Contaminate, to stop the building from producing. And then what happened in one of the games is that I was producing my first anti-air unit, and they had Broodlords already. But then my anti-air unit couldn't finish because it was getting permanently contaminated. And then I just lost the game to the Broodlords slowly chipping me away.
That's so hilarious, man. That is actually the funniest way to lose a game. It's just the actual 6 spellcaster usage of the insane AI just blocking your single Tempest from getting out and just getting killed by 2 Broodlords. GG, dude.
Yeah, I finally managed to get some breeding room to rebuild my wall. I'm rebuilding some Robo units. I'm not sure which ones. It could be the Immortal since I have only 3, but I thought... Well, right now I think 3 is more than enough. I feel like I made a mistake and should have spent that supply on more carriers. Looks like it's Disruptors, okay. Makes sense. I think I wanted to have like 20, 21. But yeah, I'm maxed out at this point. All the extra money goes into more static defense. Now you might notice I put a few cannons in the back. This is because when I'm going air, they're gonna be making a lot of Corruptors. So I wanna have a few cannons in the back that I can fall back to that will strictly be attacking the Corruptors and won't get like baited by other ground units to attack them. As you can see, my FPS is very low here. ZERGs have a lot of units, way more than the other races usually. So my FPS is lower than it would be against Protoss or Terran.
He's down to single digit. It went down to 9
Yeah,
FPS
the carriers
for a
are
second.
shredding everything. Except the Ultras. The carriers are really bad against Ultras. I think if the Ultras have max upgrades and the carriers have max upgrades, they will deal 1 damage per shot. Okay, now I see why I made more Disruptors. I guess I figured that most of my runs I lost to being overwhelmed by the ground forces, which the carriers didn't deal with too well. Mostly the Ultras. Another thing I noticed while playing this, I'm not sure if it happened yet, I didn't notice it, but the AIs are actually like hackers. They can parasitic bomb your interceptors, which is not something you can do in real StarCraft. If you go into a game right now with your friend or something, and he makes a carrier, you make a Viper, and you try to parasitic bomb the interceptors, you won't be able to. But these AIs actually did that to me this game, I think.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You guys let me know a timestamp where that happens if you see it. I haven't noticed it yet. If that actually happens and it's not just the lag, that would be kind of surprising to say the least. I'm really curious to see, because you should not be able to target an interceptor with that. That is ridiculous. The whole point is you can't click on interceptors. You can't target them. If you could parasitic bomb interceptors, people would use that all the time.
And that's really annoying because I think one parabomb can kill all of your interceptors, and they like clumping up as well. So I lose a lot of my DPS and a lot of minerals as well. You have to keep in mind, interceptors cost money, I believe it's 15 minerals, and I don't have infinite money, so it's very costly. And I also think that when that happened, I usually pulled my interceptors back into the carriers, thinking that would get the parasitic bomb off of them. You know how if you land a Viking, for example, the parabomb stays in the air. But when I shot the interceptors again, I think the parabomb continued following them, which is a really interesting interaction.
That's crazy, dude. He had a super spreader event. He accidentally was like, oh, get back in the house. Little did he know, one of the interceptors had been bitten by the zombie. And they're like, no, I'm fine. They're like, you're walking with a limp. Are you sure you're fine? And he's like, it's fine. No, it's good. It's just, I got an itchy leg, that's all. And then he always turns into a zombie and starts killing everybody else. Silly interceptors.
Action. As you can see, my wall did get broken eventually, and I had to rebuild. I rebuilt it with pylons this time, because I didn't have enough power field in the front there to actually make cybercores. And this is looking a bit...
This is looking a bit dicey, I think he's about to say. But honestly, that was a shiz ton of corruptors. It just came in on the north of the screen. Problem, the corruptors killed a carrier. I think they might have killed one void ray. Problem, though, he pulled back and they're like, oh, let's just fight interceptors. And I'll tell you guys, if there is one unit that is terrible at fighting interceptors, it's corruptors. They do massive bonus damage to massive units, so they're way better versus carriers. They shoot really slow. They just don't do that much to interceptors. Like Hydra's Marines can kind of deal with interceptors, but corruptors shooting them is a massive waste of money. So if the AI only targets your guys and then you just pull back and they just get distracted, the corruptors aren't going to be particularly useful here.
Bit scary right now, because I'm getting pushed back. I lost like, I don't know, 3 rows of buildings or something like that. Lost a lot of ground. Another thing I forgot to mention, I don't think they get armor upgrades on their air units. If they do, from what I noticed when I clicked on them once, I think they had like 1-0 or 0-0. So if they do get upgrades, they prioritize attack. But that's really big for me, because if they get armor upgrades on the corruptors, that will make my carriers deal so much less damage.
Yeah, he was talking earlier about the interceptors having dual attacks and scaling well with upgrades. Likewise, if they have the same armor upgrades, it completely cancels them out. And corruptors by default are such a predator to the carrier because they have 2 base armor. Very few units have more than 1 base armor. Most units have 0 armor. So having 2 base armor against interceptors, which at base level do 2 times 5 damage attacks, becomes 2 times 3, right? So that's a big difference. If they're doing 6 damage, as opposed to, oh, I've got +3 armor, you've got +3 attack, cancels that, still 6 damage. But if I've got +3 attack, suddenly you're like, oh, we're back up to doing 10 damage a shot. 10 versus 6 damage each time they go pew-pew. It's a pretty damn massive difference. And you can see how quickly those Broodlords disappeared to illustrate that point.
So, from now on, as I'm gonna be losing supply, I don't think I'm gonna be adding any more carriers, because as you saw earlier, my 4th base is already mining out. And interceptors cost money, so in order to save as much money as possible, I'm gonna have to be building Tempests and Voidrays, which are also good units, especially the Voidrays, since their counter to Skytos is usually Corruptors. So Voidrays are definitely a good unit to be building. Now I lost a few buildings there as well. It's only the 18-minute mark, so I think they still have money. I think they ran out at like 30 or something like that, 25 to 30. And I'm already out.
25 to 30. I mean, he still has about 2,000 minerals left to mine. He's got minerals on his 3rd and his 4th base. I think his natural has a tiny bit as well. So enough to replenish the carriers, but you've got to be careful with this sort of army. You need to save an extra mineral bank, because if you end up on 0 minerals, you can have 200 supply of carriers. If you can't rebuild the interceptors, guess what? They don't do anything. They're dead weights. So Yeah, and it's pretty unlikely he gets many minerals off any of these gold bases nearby. So he's definitely got to not rebuild any cannon battery. At this point, it should all be saved for interceptors and maybe a few extra void rays.
So I can't really rebuild the static defenses that lost. As you can see, all my batteries are drained. Not a single battery has energy left, I think. I chronoed the cybercore there. I think the only upgrade I'm missing is +2 armor or +3 armor. But I opted not to get it because I'm low on money and I don't think it's too impactful against corruptors. And parasitic bomb and fungal.
That's a lot of money on static D. So he's looked at his batteries. He said they're empty. I actually will build some more cannons up here and some more batteries and get some more cybercore walls. I wouldn't have made that choice. Like, you guys heard me. I was like, he's got to save it all for interceptors and units. And he's like, no, I've still got to withstand a few of these big maxed armies. And he knows he needs the right static defense wall off to derp out the enemy. The moment he doesn't have that cybercore wall to derp them out, he's going to get run over.
Yeah, as you can see, my carriers are shredding the corruptors. That's because, as I said before, no armor upgrades on those. I rebuilt 2 immortals because I lost all of them, I believe. And yeah, every time I don't need probes, I go and suicide them so I can make my army even bigger. I managed to rebuild the wall with the cybercores, which is really nice. It makes the archers go all the way around. At this point, I'm kind of feeling confident enough that some of them are broke or some of them are still rebuilding their armies. So I think usually when I kill an army, defend a push, I'm gonna try to step out a little bit, clear some creep, kill some extra units, stuff like that. Now
the graphics, because it's so laggy, look so horrendous right now. They are fungling the interceptors sometimes, but I don't think they're able to chain a second and third fungal to actually kill the interceptors. And I've still yet to notice if there's a parasitic bomb, but honestly, the graphics look so shitty, I might be missing it. I think often there's little bits of green venom from like mutas shooting and fungal, and it kind of looks like there's parasitic bomb graphic, but I think it's just super laggy attack graphics from other units.
Drones are coming as well, so I know for a fact the mineral patches on my 4th base are the only ones left in the game. Also, what I did in this run, which is something I didn't do in the last video, I made a Twilight Council and I actually went for +2 shields. Which I think is pretty worth it. I think in the last one I made a Twilight Council but didn't get the upgrade because I felt like I was too poor, so I actually just wasted money on the Twilight. This time I did end up using it.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was wondering. I was like, is he just going to stay +1 plasma shields? But getting +2 seems worth it. On the other hand, his money is so dangerously low. I still feel like he's a few fungals, one or two good parasitic bombs, him losing half of his interceptors, and he's just not able to replenish. So, like, it's still really dangerous for him. Obviously, it's kind of funny that he got his 4th base dropped and killed. He doesn't want to waste money rebuilding it. He'll just long distance mine it. But he's also losing enough pylons that he's not even got a max of supply anymore. So I don't know, man. It feels like he doesn't have enough minerals left to rebuild interceptors. If the ZERG have a few more remaxes in them, he's screwed.
My supply is still very healthy, although I did lose my 4th base and they're kind of stealing the minerals from it.
Those fungals are massive! You see, these fungals here are huge. If they had just one more fungal in the middle of those interceptors up there, or a parasitic bomb, game ending for him. Absolutely massive. The problem is they went fungal, fungal, fungal. I think they cast 3 in quick succession, whereas if they just landed the juicy one in the middle and then waited 3.5 seconds through another one, 3.5 seconds through another one, you could kill them. The problem is interceptors have 40 hit points, 40 shields. Fungal only does 30 damage. So you need to chain 3 fungals to kill them. Very hard to pull that off. And obviously the AI is too stupid. I don't see any more infestors with energy there. If these guys can all get back and kind of take time to heal up, hopefully he doesn't lose too many.
Oh, I accidentally clicked the camera hotkey there. That was unfortunate. They're also mining from my 4th base right now, and I can't really stop it because my units are busy fighting their army. So their drones are just slowly stealing 5 minerals by 5 minerals. And every time my interceptors get fungled, I'm not sure about the carrier mechanics, how they work. Do interceptors get healed when they're inside the carrier? Do they stop taking damage? I really don't know how they work. But yeah, every time I get fungled, I try to just pull back my interceptors, because if I eat another fungal, those are all gonna die.
Top professional Protoss player doesn't even know how interceptors work. What an idiot. Seriously, I'm so sick of these pro players not even understanding the basic mechanics of the game. Like, everybody knows that I have no idea. I've always wondered the same thing, because you can't see their health bars. Do they regenerate their shields to max, but their hit points stay damaged in between return trips? Do both get refreshed? I think you'd have to go into the editor to find out, right? I have no idea. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Anyone, we're doing this live on Twitch. I'm going to have a really quick Google and see if we can find something. All right, well, that was not a fruitful journey into figuring out anything or learning anything. There's a bunch of people saying stuff on forums, none of which I trust at face value, but hopefully someone in the comments can let us know who actually has been inside the editor, and I'll maybe update everyone on what I find out at some point in the future.
I think even one fungal might kill them, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm just trying to bring them back to safety in case that does help. I see my Voyager count is getting big as well. As I mentioned before, I would stop making carriers at some point. They're extremely expensive. Now, something that's a bit annoying that they do sometimes. You saw there, they had a few Banelings. Banelings are like the worst unit for me to go up against, because I'm relying a lot on buildings, and Banelings just shred buildings. Especially if they're all stacked up like this. Like 5 Banelings can kill maybe like 4 or 5 of my buildings. It's insane. So every time I shoot disruptors, I'm trying to kill the Banelings before they reach my buildings. As a
The Ultras are getting on top of his disruptors, though. All of his static is getting torn down. He's also losing those last minerals in the top left. He's completely out of minerals, which means he doesn't even have enough to replace more than 4 interceptors right now. This honestly looks like Goblin is dead. Like, he's going to keep the ground army and some Void Rays, but the carriers and the Tempests are not particularly useful once the interceptors are gone. He's shredding the air units, but he's going to lose almost all of his static defense. He's still got to push across this map. Unless the ZERG has somehow exhausted themselves by the 22-minute mark. Normally it's earliest 25 minutes where their armies start getting smaller, often closer to 30 minutes. I mean, this is going to be insanely close.
Priority. Now I am getting broken. Even though I filled up my entire natural with cannons and batteries, I'm still struggling so hard to defend this. And I now officially have 0 minerals. I cannot rebuild a single interceptor anymore. And all my disruptors are cornered. I might lose all of them. Or at least a lot of them. I'm trying to just get some juicy shots before they all die. I managed to recall there. I'm not sure how many are gonna survive. Looks like 4 got recalled, 5 survived. Yeah, my batteries are drained. I think super battery is on cooldown. So now we're just hoping they don't attack again. But at the back of my mind, I'm also thinking that could be it. That could be their final army. Now I'm being attacked again. But I'm trying to save these minerals, which, looking back in hindsight, that's only 5 interceptors I'm trying to save. It's useless. I should be protecting and fighting in my batteries that are still left. So I should have been down here on the low ground fighting. This was really stupid by me, because there's no way I can kill, like, I don't know how many drones they have, 200 maybe? There's no way I can kill 200 drones and then go back and defend my base. Okay, this guy seems to be backing off. More mutas came in to attack me.
Mutas are the worst thing to build right now. If they were getting
I'm trying to play
corruptors...
back with my disruptors, because I don't have anything to protect them anymore. I don't have a wall, I don't have immortals. My army isn't there. So I'm trying to play extra safe with them so I don't lose them.
Okay, so in this situation, this is actually really bad, because his interceptors are all out front. There's a lot of corruptor muta over here. If there's like even 1 or 2 fungals in there, I think it's only queens on the right side. I see energy bars, but I think it's just queens. I don't think it's anything else. But like, dude, his interceptor count, if they get hit, or if the units focus fire, the Void Rays will be good. But what's happening is a lot of the Protoss, the Zerg units are just attacking different things. Like some attacking interceptors, some attacking a carrier, some are attacking a Void Ray, and nothing's actually dying. As long as his shit doesn't die, he can still trade well.
Because, yeah, my army isn't there to protect them. And now the Lynx get on top of them, and the AI finally learned how to split, which is really annoying. Finally get a decent hit.
What? They've been clumping entire armies into disruptor shots for 24 minutes. And when it comes to like 7 Zerglings versus a disruptor, they're like perfect 4-way split. Like, what? You took this long to learn how to split. Stupid AI, stupid.
Get on the roaches there. And yeah, the guy who was attacking now, I think it was yellow, he had a lot of anti-air. He had a lot of mutas. Them having anti-air at this point doesn't bode well for me. I'm on my last legs. No, just cleaning up all their units.
He has 8 carriers. 4 of these carriers only have 9 interceptors between them, though. So I'd say in total, he's got about the firepower of only 4 full carriers here. At most 5 out of the 8. So it's not as scary as his army looks.
At this point, I don't know how much they have left, but I'm trying to focus on cleaning up all their units because me losing by elimination, by them killing all of my buildings, is possible. I don't have a lot of buildings left, and I'm gonna have to move out to clear out their buildings.
This is also really good because they might start. This might get them to just send units in one at a time. Because if they're like, oh, we're under attack, they might not group up. His real fear here should be the AI grouping together, rebuilding, grouping up, going for one big wave. If he can keep fighting them in small groups, he can still win.
So I'm trying to go slowly and kill all of their army that I see on the way. They fungled my interceptors there again a few seconds ago. That was quite annoying. Because like, I'm on 0 minerals. One fungal kill like 15 interceptors. It's a lot. I'm losing. Yeah, as you can see there, Parabomb following one of my interceptors. Which is what I was talking about earlier. They're hackers, man. Yeah, this was not a great fight. Talking about earlier. As you can see there, it's a lot. I'm losing. Yeah, as you can see there, Parabomb following one of my interceptors.
Oh my god.
Which is what I was talking about earlier. They're hackers, man.
Yeah, legitimately was. Look at... That's crazy. That's insane, dude. I can't believe the AI can parasitic bomb the interceptors. What? That's funny. Yeah, I guess the way the AI works, they're like, well, we don't need to actually click. So you guys can't click on these, but we can. Damn, that's crazy. That's really, really wild because that does hurt this style a lot. And he's almost completely out of air units now. He's got, what is it, 6 Void Rays, 6 carriers, 3 Tempests. The carriers have like, look, there's almost no interceptors left. I mean, is he legitimately just going to win because they have nothing left that shoots? If they just built queens, they'd win. Thing is, they never build lots of queens and spores. The AI is not smart enough. There's individual swarm hosts unburrowing into his army. They also could just run past and win the base trade. Oh, mutas! Mutas!
And my army is ahead of my base, so that's yeah, that's why they're not going to my base.
Oh my god, he's barely saving his Void Rays, but one of them goes down!
A few units. I think I lost 3 Void Rays.
Oh my god, another Void Ray and a Tempest went down. Oh
All my carriers are
no!
empty, so the only DPS I have is 2 Tempests and 3 Void Rays. And for all I know, there's still like 10 mutas left on the map or something.
Oh!
That's a really good fungal there. Deals some HP damage to my Void Ray.
Oh my god, if they just ran past and base traded, they would win.
Going to attack my buildings.
The Ultras are burrowing and unburrowing. It's like, just go kill the buildings, you dumbasses. You absolute morons. Oh my god, the AI is so stupid sometimes. I love that it has creep inside his main base as well. This is wild. And look, it's splitting pretty well now, man. It's so funny because I think it's whenever it's grouping up for a super committed attack, it won't spread. But dude, it's killing a lot of buildings. So he's got, like you said, 2 Tempests, 2 Void Rays, or 3 Void Rays, something like that. Like very little firepower. The carriers can do nothing but absorb damage now. So all he can do is fly them in front. And because they should still have the same attack priority, the enemy like Mutas and Corruptors and Hydras will attack them. But oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, these are his last buildings. These are a few pylons in his natural, but he's going to lose all of these in his main. Oh my god, what the hell, man? I thought he had it.
They start burrowing their units to try to save them, and I don't have detection. So I'm scared that they're just gonna unburrow and kill my buildings later when I try to go kill their buildings. Oh, he unburrows there luckily. And later I figured out, way later, not anytime soon, I think maybe, yeah, not anytime soon, that they unburrow the buildings if you go out of, like, I think auto attack range. So for Tempest it would, or maybe just flat 8 range or something. If I exit that area, they're gonna unburrow thinking they are safe. So that's why that Ultra is there unburrowed in my main base.
I love that this carrier is just a scouting overlord at this point.
At this point, my carriers are empty, so I'm just trying to use some of them to scout. I'm using this one in the front to see if an attack is coming. And I'm just trying to think what I should do here, camping on my buildings.
Look at his camera. He looks like he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm dead, but who knows?
I should move out with everything, or like...
He's like, maybe? Like, you could see the way he moved at his chair. He's just kind of like, I'm probably dead, but I guess I should hang in here and see. Maybe they're completely out of money. Sometimes there's another big wave of Mutas or Corruptors or Void Rays or Hydras. Like, it is weird the way the AI behaves. It is hard to completely expect what they're doing. But they clearly are very broke. They're all just rallying drones across to try and get those last minerals. And we haven't really seen any units in a while, so he's going to venture out.
I think I tried to use the carrier there as bait to tank for the Void Rays. But yeah, I'm still not 100% sure whether or not an army exists. This could have been really unfortunate. I'm not sure if the Corruptor wins the 1v1 against the Tempest, but if my army was somewhere else, I could have lost the Tempest there, which is a big percentage of my DPS at this point. So, at this point, I'm still thinking that the conditions that make them surrender is like no town hall buildings, so like no CCs or nexuses or orbitals, and no minerals to rebuild them, something like that. Or maybe like no workers plus no hatcheries. I'm not sure what it is, but I will be trying to basically target the hatcheries mostly, because I think that's no matter what, a condition that makes them forfeit the game. Surrender the game.
It's a little sloppy. He should be keeping his carriers in front. Oh my god, there's another army!
I kind of lost hope here because that's a pretty big army. I have like 3 Voyagers and 2 Tempests, and I need to kill... I'm not sure how many units that was. Maybe like 5 Corruptors, 5 Mutas, something like that. And some Spellcasters. If they used like Neural plus Parasitic Bomb or something along those lines, I think I would definitely lose to that army. So now instead of wasting time trying to kill buildings, I'm gonna try to kill that army first, so I know for sure whether or not I won or lost before I spend an hour and a half killing everything. He donates 1 Corruptor here, which, funnily enough, is huge. I'm also killing a Queen, a full energy Queen.
1 Corruptor donation to the side.
Posturing my carriers forward to scout to give me a heads up when the army starts coming. I see it now. So I'm trying to back off a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot of mutas.
And infestors as well!
I'm fine sacrificing the carriers here because I am picking away at his actual fighting units, while all I'm using is a useless carrier.
Oh!
So I killed most of his mutas. Only 2 mutas survived. This is quite annoying. A few links killing my last building, so I have to actually back off here. And I'm not sure... like, this is also scary, right? If he attacked my buildings now, what's stopping him from attacking them again later, right? So I'm not sure what triggered the AI to go and attack those.
I wonder if there is something to be
Since
said
I
for going
believe
Archons later on in the
that the
game as
yellow-
well. Since he does have all this gas bank, there's like that party. It's like, it's only 100 minerals for each Archon. Maybe you should add Archons in the later stage, right? It's like, but obviously they're really good against like mutas and stuff in this scenario, but up until this scenario, they're not very good. So, you know, against the Ultras and everything, I guess they tank a little bit, but here we go. Oh my God, big fight, abduct on the carrier.
Lucky. I got to fight in the dead space where the Hydras can't reach. I think he has maybe 2 Hydras or something like that. So this is legit the best fight I could have hoped for. I managed to kill all of his air units, 2 Tempests and 2 Voiders left. These might be the game-winning units. I almost lost a Voyager to a Sporter, that would have been really tragic.
Look at how tense he is.
Because he doesn't use Neural,
Oh
I'm
my
feeling
gosh.
pretty good at this point. I think that's 3 Hydras, yeah. The DPS of those 3 Hydras definitely would have won him the fight if he fought normally, like, on the
He's
ground.
got to kill the Viper.
And they would have lost the game here.
And those Void Rays
There,
can't
in
get
that
fungal.
fight, I mean.
The Void Rays get
This game is
fungled,
just
he's
a
out.
nail biter. Barely winning because I got a lucky fight. And I have 4 buildings left. Like, barely, I'm barely alive.
The smile. He senses that's the last anti-air units. He thinks he might actually have it. Of course, still at this point, they could just A-move and kill his last
At this
buildings.
point, I'm just gonna methodically, carefully be killing all of their buildings while trying to prioritize the hatcheries. I'm still a bit scared of his infestors and his vipers, because I said if they use the right spells, they can beat my army. Even though I think they're probably not gonna use the right spells, I still don't wanna take that risk. I really don't wanna take that risk. Because I'm barely winning right now. And it might be near impossible to recreate a game like this. Okay, luckily he just move commands into me here and loses all of his spellcasters.
That is the AI programming at its finest. It says, hey, you're attacking my buddy. I need to go help my buddy. Even though I know I have nothing that can do anything in this fight. Doesn't even drop fungals. Ah!
So now there might be just a few spores and few queens left on the map. I'm trying to kill his army here, so that he doesn't accidentally attack me. But then I gave up. Because I think that if he does attack me, there's no way I can stop it, and I'm just gonna be wasting time killing the army. And another thing that I forgot while actually playing this is what we realized in the PvP challenge. Is that at some point they go defensive. When they have no money left, and there's only a few armies left on the map, they actually won't attack. They will actually just stay defensive with their 2 or 3 armies or however many units they have left. I think maybe that's why I actually stopped attacking his army there. I might have remembered that and realized that there's no need to. That he's just gonna stay defending the whole game.
Okay, so it takes him like an hour to finish them off from here. The rest is just me killing every building. I'm going to cut the boring parts out. The replay will be in the description. Oh my god, it was like 2 hours from here of him slowly doing it. Either way, this is insane. Yeah, they could kill him at any moment. He says, oh, they'll definitely stay defensive, but even he says it with a little bit of doubt because the AI is unpredictable. You're never quite sure what triggers it to do this or that. So, yeah.
Well, I understand that I was like kind of panicky and worried. Because this is the first time I might potentially win. I do lose a Voyager there, which I was not happy about that because I don't know, that's 25% of my DPS or something, so it's gonna take me 25% longer to make them all surrender. So that was not really nice.
We gotta watch that again.
Maybe
Sorry, guys. We gotta watch that
about
again.
that.
That's too funny, man. He's literally leaning back, hands behind his head, not watching, and the queen comes and kills it.
I do lose a Voyager there. Should've taken
That's
better
too
care of-
funny.
And now we got our first surrender, which makes me pretty happy because I think that I don't have to kill his buildings anymore. And I think it's possible. But at some point I got a bit afraid that they might not leave the game because of creep tumors. And now I'm looking like I thought I killed all of the buildings from the green guy, Cheater 6. But I actually just didn't see on the minimap. I think he has like 1 or 2 more spores left. But anyway, even if I kill those, sometimes they won't surrender because they think their allies can still win the game. Zergs are kind of weird like that.
Weirdo Zergs. Those weirdo Zergs. By the way, I don't know if Fear Dragon's still on the channel. Fear Dragon, if you are, we're discussing how do interceptors heal when they return to the carrier or not. Intensity says they've tested it. They don't think so. The rest of us are very unsure, mixed opinions. If there's someone who knows, 99... I've got 99% useless facts here. So let us know, Fear Dragon. Do you have any info on yes or no?
So I had to actually kill every single building from every single AI in order to win the game because some of them just refused to leave. And it did almost give me a few heart attacks while I was cleaning this up. And with this Voyager right now, I was trying to find active creep tumors because I thought maybe, oh, if I find the active creep tumor, then he's gonna have nothing to do and then he's gonna surrender. But no, that isn't the case. Yeah, I was afraid they wouldn't be able to win, even though in real StarCraft, a creep tumor doesn't count as a building. So at some point, I kill everything and I will win by eliminating all the buildings. And that's it. We did it.
An hour and 16.
And that's it. We did it. That was the 1v7 PvZ Insane Cheater 3 AI. We did it with 2 Tempests, 1 Voyager, and 4 Pylons left. Just barely managed to do it.
Please tell me he looks at the unit kills. We got a Voidray with 177 kills. What do the Tempests have?
And I will show resources lost, and I will try to show some hero units at the end here as well. But yeah, towards the end there, I was mostly just trying to kill the buildings in the fastest way possible. And sometimes I was making poor calls with my Voyager movement because I was afraid that I would need to catch active tumors, which was just wrong. I just needed to kill every actual building. But yeah, I was trying to kill the gas geysers and then the buildings that were on creep while ignoring the ones off creep because they will bleed out, because that's the most efficient way to do it. And I'm trying to get into a point of the replay right now where I can show you some hero disruptors. Well, I probably didn't pick a perfect moment, but I'm currently gonna scroll through all of the units that I have. 48 kill disruptor there, 49. 62, so far that's the highest one, I believe. Because I know in the previous video you guys were complaining that I didn't show any of the kills or the hero units. But yeah, I think we scrolled through all of them and the 62 was the highest one. We can...
There was a 60 kill Immortal there as well. And I'm sure some of his carriers probably actually racked up a ton of kills. So it's kind of a shame he doesn't click through the carriers here. I think he's just in the mindset of the carriers were dead weight at the end of the game. So he forgot that they were so heroic in the mid game. Either way, though, this was awesome. You should all go check out Goblin's channel. It's literally just Goblin guys on YouTube. So search Goblin SC2 on YouTube. So only got 642 subscribers. So help us change that, guys. This is not my account that I actually watch videos on privately. You guys can see I'm on my main account. So we'll give him a second subscribe from me on my my main pig channel as well. So heck yeah, he's probably got 3 or 4 subscribes from me now.
Can't see the carrier kills because they're building interceptors, but yeah. That's it. Thank you for watching.
Ah, because they were building interceptors, he couldn't see the carrier kills. Fair call.
Leave a comment, subscribe, and see you in the next video.
Yeah, he could have found a spot where they weren't building them, but that's all good. He just finished the game. An epic, epic journey.
Some heroes.
Well, that is an epic, epic journey, guys. That is the closest by far. We thought Hero Marines was close, but I think he had... How many battle cruisers did Hero Marine have? Like 4 battle cruisers left at the end or something like that, or 6. But this was even closer with 2 Tempest and a Void Ray left over. And that fight on the right side where he lured them into the dead space so the Hydras couldn't fight, the Infestors weren't fungling, he was picking off the units. Absolute insanity. It looked like when those Ultras got on top of the Disruptors, I thought he was done for. They were mining out his 4th base as well, stealing his last minerals there. Super sick that he managed to do this, though. You can tell, even here with what might be considered, oh, he had a bit of a chilled start. He got away with his greedy opening. He kept saying, I'm doing a greedy build. It's really quite greedy. Even then, so hard to stop the mixture of Ultras, Broodlords, Banelings. You've got the Vipers, the Lurkers, the Fungals coming in as well. It's stacked up a lot. GG, well played. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Go check out Goblin's channel, and we'll see you in the next one. And keep your eyes toasty, because guess what? We've got an upcoming new AI challenge, which we'll be announcing in the near future. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.